Well, hello everybody. I'm over here in the goat pen here and getting things ready for spring. Shine had her babies and she was the last one. They're over there crying. See if I can get them to you. You can kind of see them. They're coming to us. Those are the last babies. Running to mama there. But these are our last ones, and so they were born a couple days ago, April the 10th. But today I'm here to do some spring chores. Biggest thing is kind of my water set up for them. You know, other than, you know, putting up my temporary fence, but I've already done that. So here's what it looks like when you do just kind of a temporary water. Now, if you notice my water system, I've got an elevated IBC tote, and I'm collecting rainwater off the roof of their building. Now that building is only about a 9 by 12. I don't even know if it's 12 foot long. 9 by 11 maybe. And you can see I closed this off. Normally I just leave this open here and it just dumps into this water here. Now I've got a tank heater in the bottom of there to keep it from freezing, but there's not really, you know, the goats over here don't eat enough or don't drink enough water to really justify keeping more than that. So that works good for me. This tote, when it fills up, and it's already halfway full, we got a real big rain the other day. So the only thing I do, like I said, to winterize it is leave that open and let it pour straight in. Now with doing that, you don't save any water in your reserve. However, it does work good for keeping the fittings from freezing. Now it's elevated, and the reason it's elevated is to give you some little bit of gravity to feed your pump, or your float valve. So all I have here is I have a float valve that goes like in the bottom of the toilet, and it closes when it's full, and a little piece of hose. So the float valve's like $10, or it may have been $12 at Rural King. Okay, and this hose, now this little, it's real hard to find a short hose like this, but I wanted to keep everything close, and I didn't want to have a bunch of problems. So I bought a hose, and you can make one with hose fittings and all that, but I just decided to buy one because it was real convenient size. I think it was like 4 or 5 feet, but it was $20. So I mean, this wasn't a very expensive hose, and normally I'll keep that up there. Well, I should have done that. Normally I just thread it through the bottom of my IBC tote to hold it up. Just to get some little extra there, little extra support holding it up. But the $20, in my opinion, was worth it to have a real nice hose, real easy to work with. So I mean, I used something that was really easy instead. And all you do, now I closed it the other day so it'd start collecting water with that big rain we had. As you can tell, it just kind of drips water out the bottom. It's nothing major, but it drips water out the bottom, and it'll fill that thing up until that float goes in, and it'll stop. You can see it shut it off. But all I'm doing is gravity feeding my water from my IBC tote, which is fed off the roof. That's all I have for these goats over here, and it takes a long time for this to get to the point to where I'm having to bring over 5-gallon buckets from the house. The reason I do it here is my house is so far away, but this works really good. I ended up putting in this temporary power pole for really 3 reasons, but this one's the main one. Keep me from busting ice, so I could put me a water heater in here. And the rest of it, see, That's the only thing I really can't run off of solar. The rest of it could easily be run off of solar. But when you need a tank heater, normally you have a battery backup for your solar operating because your tank's frozen. But and it's covered, whatever you have is covered nice. So I had it for the tank heater. I had it for if I needed an electric fence strand around the bottom or to hook up my electric fence, but I have it operating on solar right now. And for my light, I have put me a little light up there at the top, so when I come over here at dark whenever I'm working in the winter time, because in the winter it gets dark when I get home from work, I wanted to be able to come over here in the dark. And so, you know, my electric bill is maybe $20 a month at most, but it's worth it just to have these conveniences, to have just to, you know, be able to operate in the winter time a lot easier. I believe in the off-grid more or less. I'd prefer an off-grid situation, but that makes my life a heck of a lot easier just for water and light. Now that's our baby right there. What are you doing, baby? My wife named her Coffee, and her little brother is Cream. Her brother came out right after her, so Coffee and Cream. But that's that little girl. She's real pretty. I think we're going to keep her. I think we're going to keep her and keep her with the herd. But anyway, you can tell that's just my setup. It's real simple. Just collecting water off of their roof, putting it in an IBC tote, an elevated IBC tote, and taking that to a half barrel with a float, a small piece of hose. So if somebody was resourceful, they could do this real cheap. I bought some new stuff. I bought a piece of gutter and the pipe there, and I put a screen up here to screen out any of the impurities, you know, like pieces of leaves or what have you, and I just clean that out every now and then. So, you know, I bought most of this. So for that gutter, I've got maybe, I think I've got about $50 in guttering parts there and that pipe. And then I've got $75 in a food grade tote. I had all these blocks, so I'm at $125. And then for these fittings here and this and that float, we'll just say another $50, so $175. And then for the half barrel we had laying around, and this, you know, you can easily be in it for $200 if you've got a few things laying around. I'm real bad about having the stuff laying around or having it in a building and it being under a bunch of stuff that I don't want to move to get to it, and I have the money, so I just go buy it. And so I go buy it anyway, and then I still have my scrap stuff. So that's kind of what I did here. I'm about $200 all in on this water system, and that's high even for this. I mean, and then that doesn't count, you know, the $50 I've got for the tank heater. But let's say I'm $250 all in for that. That's not too bad to have water out here for your animals, to have some infrastructure here, and it's something that I can move around. I could put that on a trailer if I wanted to and take it to the other property, you know. And I've put $75 in that hay feeder because I paid $75 for that IBC tote there too. Now that one wasn't food grade, but you know, all in all, I'm getting by pretty cheap here. That electro netting is pretty expensive, and then the fence, the original fence wire, you know, I've got about $2,000 worth of fence. But in that building I drug over here and recycled, and this electric pole, I didn't buy all the materials. All I had to do was buy that pole when I had all this electrical equipment sitting around. I had to buy that light up there, but I had everything else, the box and the weatherhead and all that. So I've got maybe $150, $200 just in this light here and this electric. So, you know, if you use what you've got and you're able to just recycle and reuse, you can do this stuff pretty cheap. You know, and you just do it as you can. You know, the light didn't come in and the electricity didn't come in until after being over here for about a year. Now I've owned this land for almost a decade, actually probably is a decade now. But you know, I've just slowly been working it and being able to get everything the way it needs to be for these goats. But once you get your place fenced in, get animals on your property, and they'll start making your grass grow better and start taking care of your place. Anyway, y'all have a great week.